Izzy, it looks like the Indiana Fever are facing major punishment from the league. That's right. The WNBA could be coming down hard on the Indiana Fever for misrepresentation on the injury report when it comes to Caitlin Clark. We have watched this go on all last season.
Strategic management plan or not managing anything at all. Pick one. Because those are the two completely different explanations that came out of the Indiana Fever organization on the exact same night. And both of them cannot possibly be true at the same time. One version says Caitlin Clark's absence was part of a carefully planned approach. The other says the situation developed unexpectedly because of sudden back soreness. Those are two entirely different stories. Yet fans were expected to accept both without questioning the contradictions. I'm Dre Fiver, and this is Street Hoops, where we call it straight down the middle. No corporate spin, no polished damage control statements, no pretending obvious inconsistencies don't exist. What happened in Indianapolis looks like an organization scrambling publicly while trying to contain growing frustration surrounding the biggest star in women's basketball. The timeline matters because that is where the entire controversy begins. On Tuesday, May 19th, the Indiana Fever released their official injury report for the following night's matchup against the Portland Fire. According to the team's own social media post, the report was completely clean. No injuries listed, no player limitations. Nothing that suggested Caitlin Clark might not be available. Fans saw that update and naturally assumed the franchise centerpiece would be on the floor. Thousands of people made plans around that expectation. Families bought tickets. Fans traveled into Indianapolis. Merchandise sales exploded. Restaurants and parking lots around Gainbridge Fieldhouse filled up because everyone believed they were about to watch the league's biggest attraction. But behind the scenes, the reality already appeared much more complicated. Later, Stephanie White confirmed during media availability that Clark had not fully participated in practice on Tuesday. Instead of being on the floor with teammates during the main session, Clark reportedly spent time receiving treatment for back discomfort before later doing individual work on her own. That means the coaching staff and medical personnel were fully aware there was at least some level of concern surrounding her condition. Yet despite that knowledge, the organization still publicly released an injury report showing absolutely nothing. That is why fans are upset. It is not just about missing one regular season game. It is about trust. Then Wednesday arrived. Fans poured into Gainbridge Fieldhouse expecting to see Clark play. The arena filled up. Concessions opened. Jerseys sold. Energy built throughout the building. And then less than 2 hours before tip-off, the announcement finally dropped. At approximately 5:20 p.m. Easter Time, the Fever officially ruled Caitlin Clark out with a back injury. The reaction online was immediate. Many fans felt blindsided, especially after seeing the no injuries report the previous day. Others questioned why the team waited until so late in the evening to make the decision public if concerns already existed during Tuesday's practice. That confusion only intensified when different explanations started circulating publicly. Some comments suggested this absence was precautionary and strategically planned. Other comments framed it as a last-minute medical development, instead of calming the situation. The mixed messaging created even more frustration. At the center of all of this is a growing feeling among fans that the Fever organization keeps failing to communicate clearly about the player who drives the league's biggest audiences. Whether the issue was poor coordination, internal confusion, or simply bad public relations, the result was the same. Supporters left feeling like they were the last people to get the truth. And in today's sports world, where every clip, statement, and timeline gets analyzed instantly online, inconsistent messaging only adds fuel to an already heated situation. The game tipped off at 7 p.m. That means fans received barely any warning at all. After a completely clean injury report the day before, after the organization already knew Caitlin Clark had missed practice and was receiving treatment, the public was suddenly told just hours before tip-off that the biggest star in the league would not be playing. That timing is exactly why people are furious. And then the entire situation exploded once Scott Agnes entered the conversation. Agnes, who covers the Indiana Fever for Fieldhouse Files, was the first reporter to break the news publicly. His report spread everywhere almost instantly, getting picked up by major sports outlets and discussed across social media within minutes. According to Agnes, Clark's absence was part of a strategic management plan for the season, noting that the matchup against Portland marked Indiana's fourth game in 8 days. Read that carefully because those words matter. A strategic management plan for the season is not the same thing as a sudden injury emergency. That wording describes a larger philosophy. It describes workload balancing, pacing, and protecting a player over a long schedule. In other words, whether the organization wants to use the phrase or not, that sounds exactly like load management. People can argue over terminology all they want, but the concept is straightforward. If a franchise is intentionally resting its superstar because of game density and physical or over time, that is workload management. The NBA has dealt with this issue for years, and teams there are required to disclose those decisions clearly and properly. That is why this situation immediately became controversial. Then Stephanie White stepped to the podium after Indiana's win over Portland, and instead of clarifying the confusion, her comments pushed the story into an entirely different direction. According to multiple reports, including coverage from James Boyd and other media members, White told reporters, "She's healthy. We're not managing anything. This is just a back issue that we want to make sure we give the time to be ready." And right there is where the contradiction hit full speed. One explanation says Clark's absence was part of a strategic season-long management plan. The other says there was no management involved at all, only a back issue that required caution. Those are fundamentally different explanations coming from the same organization on the same night. Now, to be fair, there is one possible interpretation that could explain the disconnect. It is entirely possible Scott Agness was offering his own broader interpretation of the situation, while Stephanie White was speaking strictly about the immediate medical decision. In that version of events, Agness viewed the absence as part of an overall health strategy, while White focused specifically on Clark's soreness that evening. That explanation exists, but here is why the confusion never went away. If that truly was the situation, the organization had every opportunity to clear it up directly and cleanly. White could have simply explained that Clark experienced unexpected stiffness and that Agness' wording reflected a broader conversation about health over the season. That answer would have connected the dots immediately. Instead, the response created even more uncertainty by flatly denying any form of management, while still acknowledging a physical issue serious enough to keep Clark off the floor entirely. And for fans who already felt blindsided by the late announcement, that contradiction only deepened the frustration. Because at the center of all this is not just one missed game. It is the growing perception that the Fever organization keeps sending mixed messages whenever it comes to the league's biggest attraction. That is the part that continues to fuel the backlash. When a reporter directly asked Stephanie White whether the Indiana Fever could face league discipline for leaving Caitlin Clark off the injury report, her response was short and immediate. No, just no. No detailed explanation. No clarification about league procedures. No acknowledgement of the reporting rules that every franchise is expected to follow. Then the WNBA stepped in the very next day and gave its own answer. And the league's answer was yes. According to multiple reports, including coverage from the Associated Press and ESPN, the Indiana Fever received an official warning from the WNBA for failing to properly disclose Caitlin Clark's injury status before the Portland Fire game. The league confirmed that teams are required under the player participation policy to report player availability by 5 p.m. local time the day before each game. If there is any condition that could impact participation, injury, illness, rest, or anything else, the organization must list the player and identify the reason. That never happened. Clark was left off the injury report completely, despite already missing practice and receiving treatment. The public did not learn she was unavailable until shortly before tip-off, and the league determined that the reporting process had not been followed properly. Now here is where the conversation gets important, because there is a difference between outrage and precision. The Fever were not fined. No executives were suspended. No draft picks were taken away. The organization received a warning. As several reports explained, that warning effectively places the team on notice for future violations. In other words, the league is saying the next situation could bring more serious consequences. But as of now, the Fever escaped without any direct financial punishment. That reality is exactly why so many fans remain frustrated. From their perspective, the sequence feels impossible to ignore. The organization knew Clark was dealing with physical discomfort. They released a clean injury report anyway. Fans bought tickets expecting to see the league's biggest attraction. Then the announcement arrived shortly before the game, after most people had already committed their money and time. And after all of that, the only consequence was a formal warning. That does not feel like meaningful accountability to a lot of people. The frustration becomes even easier to understand when you look at the atmosphere inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse during the Portland game. Photos circulating online showed sections of the arena that were noticeably less full than a normal Caitlin Clark home game. Not empty, not abandoned, but visibly different from the packed crowds that typically follow her appearances. And behind every empty seat is usually a real person who made plans around seeing Clark play. Families drove in from other cities. Parents bought jerseys for their kids. Fans paid for parking concessions and tickets expecting a specific experience. By the time the official announcement arrived, many had already entered the building. That is why the communication issue matters so much. People do not simply feel disappointed about one missed game. They feel like they were not given honest information early enough to make their own decisions. At the same time, it is important to acknowledge the other side of the situation too. Managing Clark's health is not unreasonable. She played through physical issues last season, and concerns about overworking a franchise player during a packed schedule are understandable. According to previous comments from the coaching staff, back discomfort has been something the organization has monitored carefully. Clark was even seen receiving treatment during the season opener earlier in the year. No serious basketball fan want a long-term injury situation developing because a player pushed through too much too early. But protecting a player's health and communicating transparently with the public are two separate responsibilities. Fans can accept rest. Fans can accept caution. What creates backlash is when messaging changes repeatedly. Timelines do not line up cleanly, and the organization appears reactive instead of direct. That is why this story has continued to grow far beyond a single missed game. I will give the Fever organization this much. Protecting Caitlin Clark's health is not unreasonable. Managing the workload of a franchise player during a packed schedule makes sense. A long season, constant travel, and lingering back discomfort are all legitimate concerns for a team trying to think long-term. But none of that required the no injuries report. None of it required silence until barely 90 minutes before tip-off. None of it required fans finding out after they had already parked their cars, scanned their tickets, and walked into the arena expecting to watch the biggest star in women's basketball. You can protect a player and still communicate honestly with the people supporting your franchise. Those two responsibilities are not in conflict. Put her down as questionable. Call it day to day. Say she is receiving treatment and will be evaluated closer to game time. Fans understand uncertainty. What they do not appreciate is being told absolutely nothing. And that is where the Fever lost control of this story. Now let's address another theory that exploded online after Clark was ruled out. Some people immediately argued this was never really about a back issue at all. They claimed the absence was secretly disciplinary, tied to reported tension between Clark and the coaching staff. I understand why people jump there. The organization has created an atmosphere where fans question almost everything because communication has been inconsistent for weeks. But that specific theory falls apart once you actually examine the details carefully. First, the timeline makes no sense for a punishment scenario. If an organization planned to discipline a player quietly, they would not begin by pulling her from practice for legitimate treatment the day before the game. That creates unnecessary complexity. A disciplinary benching would usually look much simpler. Normal preparation followed by coaching decision. The existence of treatment sessions and physical management points toward an actual health concern, not an elaborate setup. Second, multiple reports confirmed Clark's parents were present at Gainbridge Fieldhouse for the Portland game. That matters. If this had been some hidden organizational punishment designed to embarrass Clark publicly, it is difficult to imagine her family casually sitting courtside while it unfolded. That does not align with how situations like that typically play out in professional sports. Third, and most importantly, the back issue itself has never been hidden. Clark acknowledged physical discomfort early in the season. Viewers saw moments where she received treatment during games. Coaches referenced the issue publicly. There were even visible signs during preseason activities that the team was monitoring her condition carefully. The injury does not require a conspiracy theory to explain one missed game. The real problem was not the injury. The real problem was the communication. What this entire situation exposes is a larger organizational weakness that keeps surfacing around the Fever. The franchise consistently appears reactive instead of prepared. Messaging changes depending on who is speaking. Public explanations fail to line up cleanly. Different voices inside the same organization seem to operate on completely separate pages. Scott Agnes described the absence as part of a strategic, season-long management approach. Stephanie White publicly denied they were managing anything at all. Then, after dismissing questions about possible league discipline, the organization received an official warning from the WNBA less than 24 hours later. That is not one isolated mistake. That is a communication structure breaking down in real time. And here's why the stakes matter so much. The WNBA is in the middle of massive growth. Attendance is rising. Television audiences are climbing. National attention around the sport has reached levels the league has never experienced before. Fans are investing emotionally and financially in ways that were unimaginable just a few years ago. At the center of that growth is Caitlin Clark. That reality changes everything about how situations like this are viewed publicly. When the most commercially important player in the league is involved, confusion and inconsistency become amplified instantly. Every timeline gets analyzed. Every statement gets dissected. Every contradiction becomes national conversation material within minutes. Which is why many fans feel the warning from the league was too soft. From their perspective, the Fever mishandled player availability information involving the league's biggest draw, created widespread confusion, and still walked away without any meaningful financial consequence. To critics, the warning felt less like accountability and more like a reminder to tighten things up next time. And whether that criticism is fully fair or not, it reflects the larger issue the organization now faces: trust. Once fans start believing they're not getting clear answers, every future situation becomes harder to manage. See you next time? No, the fans were not fine. And pretending otherwise misses the entire point of the situation. The families who spent money expecting to watch Caitlin Clark play were not fine. The kid wearing a Clark jersey who sat through warm-ups only to find out shortly before tip-off that she would not be on the floor was not fine. And people are not wrong for feeling frustrated after the way the situation was handled. As of Friday, May 22nd, 2026, Clark is officially listed as probable for Indiana's matchup against the Golden State Valkyries at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Under normal circumstances, probable would offer fans some level of reassurance. But after everything that unfolded over the previous week, many supporters no longer feel confident interpreting any injury designation coming from this organization. That is, the larger issue now is not just about one missed game. It is about credibility. The Fever already released a no injuries report before ruling Clark out hours later. Stephanie White already publicly dismissed the possibility of league discipline before the WNBA issued an official warning the next day. Statements have shifted repeatedly. Timelines have not matched cleanly. And fans are left trying to figure out which version of events they are supposed to trust. That growing skepticism is now attached to every update the organization releases. And through all of it, Caitlin Clark herself has largely remained above the controversy. Her production has been elite. Through 4 games, she has continued putting up major numbers while carrying enormous pressure and attention every single night. She has spoken honestly about physical discomfort when asked. She has shown up, competed, and handled the spotlight that comes with being the face of the league. The criticism surrounding this situation is aimed far more at the organization than the player. Fans are questioning the communication structure, the coordination between the coaching staff and front office, and the decision-making process surrounding public injury disclosure. The frustration comes from feeling like information was delayed unnecessarily and then explained inconsistently once questions started pouring in. And until the Fever rebuild trust with clearer communication, every future update involving Clark's status is going to be viewed through that lens. The WNBA issued a warning. Some people believe that was appropriate. Others feel the league should have gone further with financial penalties or stricter accountability measures. Either way, the incident has already left a mark because it exposed how quickly confusion can spiral when messaging is not aligned internally. At the center of all this is a league experiencing enormous growth. Attendance is climbing. National interest is surging. More families are investing their time and money into women's basketball than ever before. That means organizations are under greater pressure to communicate clearly and professionally, especially when it involves the league's biggest stars. And that is why this conversation is not disappearing anytime soon. The Caitlin Clark story will continue to dominate headlines. Questions about Indiana's leadership, Stephanie White's handling of the roster, and Clark's long-term future with the franchise will keep generating attention as the season moves forward. Every injury update, every press conference, and every sideline interaction is now going to be examined closely because trust has already been shaken. That is where things stand right now. Fans wanted transparency. Instead, they got mixed messaging, late announcements, and an official warning from the league. Whether the Fever learn from this moment or repeat the same mistakes moving forward will shape how the organization is viewed for the rest of the season.